Why Radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4.
We create champions. We make racers.
As the excitement ramps up in the BiS Radical Cup Canada, we're heading into round 7 of 8 at Watkins Glen, where the championship is on the line. With the title within reach, all eyes are on Fazui, who can secure the championship tonight. A crucial battle with Jamie LeVay awaits. If Fazui finishes ahead of Jamie in this race, he will claim the coveted title and the chance to take on a real test in the prestigious Radical SR3. But that's not all. While the Pro Championship is nearly decided, the AMP Championship is still wide open, with competitors vying for every point. With just one round left after this, which they cannot drop, the stakes couldn't be higher. Let's buckle up for what promises to be a thrilling race at the legendary Watkins Glen. Ladies and gentlemen, my name has and always will be Daniel Zippy Salmon, and joining me in the booth tonight, it's Reese, the Southpaw Racer Gardner, with Christian Hill over at the controls. Now, we're looking to have a really fun race tonight. Certainly, Watkins Glen is on the Zippy approved track list. Reese, we'll get some quick thoughts, actually. Maybe go through the track map as well.
Yeah, indeed. It's a Gardner approved track map as well. Track map, just a track in general. Welcome to Watkins Glen, everybody. One of the most iconic tracks in motorsport, and tonight we're racing through the challenging boot layout with the added complexity of the bus stop. This track combines tight corners, fast straights, and high-speed chicanes, making it a true test of skill and bravery. As the championship battle heats up, every corner counts. And with the title within reach for Racing Fazui, the pressure is on. Let's get ready for a thrilling race, potentially under the lights at this legendary circuit. Very high average speed, Zippy, and the inner loop chicane in particular is one corner I'm going to be looking out for, because those curbs can be brutal and you have to use them to be fast.
Absolutely, certainly it is a little bit risky. You get incredibly close to that arm code, but let's take a quick look at the schedule as well. Ladies and gentlemen, so we're at Watkins Glen for round 7. Let's see where we've been so far. So we started round 1 with a very blisteringly colourful start at Sebring, with round 2 taking us to Montreal. Round 3, a personal Zippy favourite of Donington Park, followed by another Zippy favourite. Okay, there's a lot of Zippy favourites in here. Round 4 at Spa. Round 5 took us to VIR, Virginia's finest racetrack, ladies and gentlemen. Round 6 taking us to the, I believe, Australian track, forgive me, Reese, of Barber Motorsports Park, with round 7 at Watkins Glen, and the final round, the BiS home track of Motorsport. But Reese, why don't you take us through the layout for this evening's activities?
Barbara's in Alabama, by the way.
My
But
bad.
regardless, the event details are the same as they've always been, Zippy. We have a 15-minute sprint race coming up after the drivers conclude their 15 minutes of qualifying, which they're currently in. And after that sprint race, we have a feature of 30 minutes with a fuel stop required, and the top 10 from race 1 will be inverted for the start of race 2. We have a fixed setup, rolling starts, no spare car available. Got to keep an eye out for that incident limit. There are some corners here at Watkins Glen where, it's very forgiving when it comes to the off tracks, but you don't want to rack up too many incidents, especially if there's contact in the S's. At those high-speed sections of the circuit on the first lap, it can really get leery and scary.
Oh, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking and watching at home, look out for these little highlights here on the cars. If this is pro car, you're going to see like a yellow stripe. If it is as pictured, it's an amateur car. You can see more so at the bottom. You're going to see a red stripe and a little AM there. This will help you identify who is who. And then not only that, have a good look in the timing tower you'll see on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah, indeed. Awesome to see that everybody is within their margins in the classes here, and they're going to be very easy to identify out there as well. Let's go quickly through the points, Zippy. Racine Fazui currently on top in the championship, and I think it's safe to say that he's dominated this championship.
Oh, absolutely. Racine Fazui, certainly he's got real life experience, certainly with coaching and setup and stuff like that. And in the sim is an absolute animal, rocking, just short of 8,000 iRating, ladies and gentlemen, which is one of the highest I've seen. It's certainly up there with Jamie LeVay certainly putting in a very admirable effort with Racine certainly away last week. But then you got Ozzy Milwain. That is last year's one of last year's winners, ladies and gentlemen, currently in third place with Andrew Hardman in fourth and George Griffiths there in fifth.
Yeah, indeed. Moving on over to the AM Championship points. Well, you mentioned in the intro that Marshall Crocker Jr. stands a chance of taking the AM class title this round. But if he has a bad result tonight, he's going to have to wait until the final round to confirm it. Regardless, Crocker has been solidly on top of the AM class all season, hasn't he?
Oh, absolutely. He's drove incredibly well, certainly mixing it out with the pros. As I'm looking at the timing screen right now, actually, he's doing very well. But I'll tell you what, we should probably head over to qualifying very quickly. So let's take a little bit of a quick peek, see exactly what's happening. You can see they're incredibly close. Oh, we should do the team championship as well. So right now, Lima Racing, ladies and gentlemen, ahead by just 7 points. The camaraderie with these gentlemen is absolutely incredible. One of BIS's longest standing teams with MTC Motorsports in second and AV Esports in third, with Britannia iSports, ladies and gentlemen, in fourth, and Project 2 there in fifth.
Yeah,
as that brings qualifying to an end, ladies and gentlemen. So I guess our next stop, it's going to be the grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Grid time. Qualifying is indeed over, and pole position has been taken by, oh, what a surprise, Racine Fazui, with Ozzy Milwain almost half a second slower than him to join the front row. Racine is absolutely on it here tonight, but still a great effort from Ozzy Milwain to get ahead of the likes of Clay Morris and Marshall Crocker Jr., AM-Class Championship leader. Fourth on the grid. What a result for him. That's fantastic. Andrew Hardman and Zach Buchanan will start fifth and sixth. Zach Buchanan, champion from last season. Cara Dudgeon with a magnificent performance in the Radical Academy race earlier this week, starting seventh alongside Nelson Mason. Then we move back to the ninth spot. Jamie LeVay and Arnaud Geneste will round out your top 10.
I've got to say, fantastic job by Cara there. But we're going to look at P11. It's going to be Christian Gritzko alongside Joey Haynes, one of the BIS regulars there in 12th. As we have a look at 13th, a newcomer here to BIS, it's Athena Leclerc, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly seen her in an F4 car. Incredible pace. I'm looking forward to seeing her race here in the BIS Radical Cup Canada. But as we have a look at 14th, George Griffiths is back, taking that spot alongside her. And we move further back, ladies and gentlemen. 15th, Nicholas Calander there with Richard Swindell from Rich Ray Racing setup. As we have a look at 17th now, ladies and gentlemen, your league admin, Michael Broomhead, alongside Rich Hibbs. And as we close out the top 20, 19th is going to see Tyler Scarelli, the Britannia iSports cars, sharing grid spots almost, and Jean-Francois Larocque there in 20th.
Diego Zuccarelli, who is battling for second in the AM Class Championship alongside John Benvalid. I believe that they are very close in the championship there for second. Brady Clapham and Nick Polliard round out our top 24 places. And then we move to Matthew Crimmy and Cedric O'Hyan. Lima Racing populating the back half of this grid very nicely. Chad Payton in 27th, starting alongside our bearded friend Robert Covey. 28 spots done there, and the top 30 will be rounded out by Mark Boyd and Phil Nels. We'll have to wait and see what Ivan Langeveld and Keenan Blades will be able to do from the row behind, starting 31st and 32nd. Doug Meadows and Harland Goulbourne 33rd and 34th, and our final two grid spots will be Ella Martin and Matthew Mailman. Radical Academy and Lima Racing bringing up the rear. Let's see what they can do from here.
Well, it's certainly going to be a very good, very interesting race, and certainly a good mix-up there in the standings as well. Certainly, Cara Dudgeon, I knew she was quick, but I didn't realize she was going to put the car on 7th place for the grid. Absolutely incredible. Marshall Crocker Jr. as well. That's who we've got the camera on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible place. 4th place in the qualifying. That is... well, in a 34-car grid, 36-car grid, that is definitely nothing to shake a stick at. Certainly, they may be amateur this season, but they're certainly on the next season coming round. I do believe they may be getting a promotion up to the pro class.
Yeah, I imagine they will too. Fantastic performances from many of these drivers, and I'm certainly hoping that it's a clean start for everybody. It's not going to be nice coming through the S's on lap 1 to see a bunch of cars piled up in front of you, which is what tends to happen sometimes in very competitive races, particularly officials at Watkins Glen. This is a good bunch of drivers though, and I'm sure they'll be able to get through lap 1 cleanly. They'll have to be careful here at the bus stop as well. The inner loop, I mentioned the curbs are quite brutal here, and you have to use them. You got to go all the way across them to be fast, and then you need to make sure that you have the grip on the front for the run through the carousel. Then you get into the real overtaking opportunities of this place. This whole boot section, basically very fast hairpins all the way to the end of the lap.
Oh, absolutely, Reese. And certainly it is definitely on the Zippy approved track list, and indeed on the Gardner approved track list. Actually a track that we agree on, unlike Bathurst, which is fair to say one of your favorites, and one that I've got. Well, I'd go and visit there, but I wouldn't pay the journey to get there. But Watkins Glen, ladies and gentlemen, absolute belter of a track. Actually, I stand corrected. I would go to Bathurst purely so I could see my lovely co-commentator Reese Gardner. That would be the pool, not the racetrack. Sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, but and I don't know what the food likes down there as well. Reese, you could expand on that later, but certainly these guys are getting ready, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, are getting ready to bring this pace lap to a close.
Yes, indeed. Just a few more corners to go. I will point out that I would have to get on a plane as well to go to Bathurst. It's about 3 hours by plane away from me, so we both have to make a bit of a trek, Zippy, but let's talk about the trek towards this race then. Out of this left-hand hairpin, out of the boot section, into the final couple of corners. And these are very fast turns here. You have to be precise and brave in equal measure for the run through here. But for now, it is Racine Fazui bringing up the front of the grid, controlling the pace here behind the safety car. Pit entry in race 2 is going to be very important. We'll talk about that later, of course. When does Racine decide to go? Pace car is in, and he goes nice and early. Call of the green flag, and we are away. BiS Radical Canada Cup is going already. Ozzy Milwain under threat for second from Clay Morris, having to go a little wide there as Marshall Crocker Jr. has to give way to Andrew Hardman. Side by side, 2x2 on your way up the S's. That's a good slipstream that Zach Buchanan is getting there off Andrew Hardman. The field, it looks like, has made it cleanly through the S's.
Well, certainly, I think that is test 1, but test 2 is coming up as, oh my gosh, they are already free wide. That looks like Buchanan, Hardman, and I do believe another car in the mix. I don't think it was Dudgeon on that occasion, but certainly very quick to get it back here, but into single file as Marshall Crocker Jr. You can see there under attack there from Andrew Hardman. Sorry, Clay Morris, my apologies, Clay Morris.
Yeah, indeed. That's well, everybody's in single file now for the time being. And it looks like Mark Boyd has had a bit of a problem, and Chad Payton is falling down the order as well. Diego Zuccarelli also, unfortunately, it seems, escaping off the circuit. So there's been some problems for a few drivers towards the back of the grid, but up the front, things still looking clean there as Zach Buchanan tries his best to find his way past Andrew Hardman. Jamie LeVay right in tow, and Cara Dudgeon's not too far back either. Looks like it's going to be a very interesting battle up the front here.
Oh, absolutely, and it looks like we've got a quick replay, and that's one of the Lima racing cars. I think it might be Cedric O'Hyan. We saw them drop down. Oh, sorry, John Bemblid. Okay, so that's not good. John Bemblid was certainly, he was looking at a points rivalry and gets a little bit caught up. Actually catches a teammate a little bit there. Yep. Teammate manages to just get by, but certainly not the result that Bemblid was looking for, as was Diego Zuccarelli. These guys second and third in the championship for the AMS, and is exactly the news that Marshall Crocker Jr. needed, who's currently sat there in fourth.
Yeah, indeed. There was quite a bit of crashing going on there, and it looks like we're going to add a couple more to the running there, as Phil Nell is unfortunately a little bit slow there on the way down into the ankle of the boot. Well, here we go then. Doug Meadows, his view. Oh, teammate spinning behind him, and he's already lost the front end. So looks like it was a bit of a chaotic start for those further down the field.
Oh, definitely a few incidents on the go, but let's get back to the action as it's happening there. And it looks like we're watching Clay Morris right now, who's hot in pursuit of Ozzy Milwain. This is a battle for second position, ladies and gentlemen. Racine Fazui already pulled out a 1 second gap, just about breaking the toe at this point. This is going to be the result he needed, but certainly the battle between Morris and Milwain will continue. 0.3 of a second in it. Marshall Crocker Jr. about 1.2 seconds back, with Nelson Mason about 0.3 of a second behind, looking to try and move himself up the field.
Yeah, here we go then. Morris trying to find his way past Milwain. He's actually looking very competitive for the time being. Let's see what he can do from here. You got to use all of that curb on the exit. Don't run too far beyond it though, otherwise you'll get the dreaded off-track 1X. And little bit of understeer through the final corner there for Clay Morris. It's so hard to keep the grip on the fronts through there. You want to carry as much speed as you can, but you've got to be careful of that wall on the outside.
Well, certainly, it's almost as if you're flirting with it, as we can see there. Zachary Buchanan, one of the BiS regulars there, he's currently down one position from where he started, but still very much in the battle, and there's still quite a bit of race action here to go with 3 laps completed. Well, I'll say 2 laps, 3 laps. Depends on how you look at it, ladies and gentlemen. We're not going to get into the finer details of numeracy at this point, but already you can see the slipstream there, and it looks like he's going to try and do a move there on Andrew Harbin. Not quite able to get it done this time. You can see Nelson Mason just ahead. These two white colored cars, different teams, mind you, and certainly Nelson Mason as well. He is another one of the amateurs, so he's going to be looking to try and not only just stay with Marshall Crocker Jr., but certainly get one leg up over him and potentially steal away some extra points.
Yeah, you can see the yellow markings there on the car in front for Zach Buchanan, and if you look very closely at Nelson Mason, 2 cars ahead, you'll see that the wing tips are red. That, as we pointed out, is what denotes AM versus Pro. It's actually been a very good run for Nelson Mason so far. Remember, the AM and Pro classes are divided by iRating, more or less, but iRating isn't always the best indicator of pace. Mason and Crocker are certainly really strutting their stuff up the front here, and things are calming down for the time being for the battle for the lead. Racine Fazui is doing what we've seen him do all season and starting to break away from everyone else.
You can see there a little bit of a puff of smoke, puff of dust, maybe, as Racine Fazui is doing as we predicted he would do, ladies and gentlemen, and absolutely running away with it right now as he sets the fastest lap. But we're going to focus on the other battles as well. We've really got a bit of a 3-way, 4-way battle going on. I'm going to see if it's about... Let's see about 5th place back, ladies and gentlemen. Nelson Mason is leading that, and it looks like he's about to get past Hardman. Certainly, he's been hard on the defense, and when doing so, it is absolutely dropping it back to his next closest rival, of Marshall Crocker Jr. And it looks like there's only going to be so much real estate available. It's Hardman there. It's going to be on the inside for the inner loop. Buchanan's managed to slingshot up, and I think Hardman's just going, you know what? I'm going to back out of that. Low risk, high reward. Mason manages to hold on, but Buchanan moves up a couple of spots.
Yeah, indeed. That was actually a really well executed defense there from Mason. He saw those three guys slipstreaming in behind him and thought, no, I'm just going to hold my line into the chicane. And Zach Buchanan had no choice but to back out. And so now Mason has all of that breathing room back again. That whole battle happened because he had a little slide on the exit of turn 1 and lost momentum. He'll be wanting to avoid that next lap unless he wants a repeat.
Oh, well, currently we're here on board with Andrew Hartman, and he's certainly he's playing the long game, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly, as he's sat back there in 8th place, it's not going to be too bad on the points, but with about 5 laps left to go, you've also got to think about that grid invert as well. Currently, he's there in 8th, which will put him on 2nd place. 2nd place? Yeah, 2nd place, 3rd place. It gets confusing where there's zeros involved, ladies and gentlemen. Zippy math is not known to necessarily be the most accurate at all times when it comes to racing, but certainly, you know what, you do weigh up the risk versus reward. You see there, that's a perfect demonstration of just how close you can get to that barrier there in the final turn as they're heading down towards turn 1.
This is where Mason made his mistake on the last lap, and he keeps the car nice and straight across the curb this time. Car coming out of the pits, that is Robert Covey, who's had to come in for nearly 4 minutes worth of repairs. He was one of the drivers that suffered big dramas on the first lap, but here's the battle then. Buchanan finally gets the slingshot done there on Nelson Mason, but Hartman is going to be the one getting 2 for 1 here, up the inside into the bus stop. Beautifully executed.
Well, certainly, it was definitely a patience game, ladies and gentlemen, and he was very much in that, very much doing what he knew best, a seasoned veteran here at BiS. And you know what, you got to wonder as well, is this going to work out in Buchanan's favor? Because now he's got Hartman to help almost pull him along a little bit, perhaps. You know, actually, no, that's Jamie LeVay. Jamie LeVay is ahead.
I got the cars confused. LeVay and Hardman, of course, for driving for the same team, and I thought for sure it was Hardman who was the one making the move there, but it was Jamie LeVay. So all credit to Mr. LeVay for that fantastic move.
Well, in your defense, Reese, there is 3 white cars with yellow wingtips there, and certainly there's only so much we can see the finer details, and despite the glasses you're wearing, there's only so much we can do with that. But you can see LeVay is now leading the charge. Now he's looking to try and score some points away from Racine Fazui, and certainly back in 5th place, he's not going to be able to get it done. He's going to need Fazui to make an error at this point, and you can see the drivers there really using as much of the track as they can there. They're heading down to turn 1, but at this point, with about 3 laps to go, Fazui is approximately, a little bit of zippy math going on here, but bear with me a second, about 10 seconds up the road. Maybe a bit more.
Yeah, compared to these guys, for sure. Racine has just been setting fastest lap after fastest lap. He is running consistently, like, 39 flats, and no one else can really get towards that. He's just banging out the laps and getting it done. We'll keep an eye here on Janest, who goes a little bit too deep into the bus stop this time, and that washes out the front, and this will put him under pressure from Cara Dudgeon. Dudgeon's been just sitting in the background of this battle for the time being. I think she might be just close enough to get a whisper of slipstream off Arnaud from here, but Arnaud will probably be focusing a little more on the likes of Mason, Hardman, and Buchanan from here. Let's see who gets the best exit out of this hairpin. You can get on the power quite early on this uphill, but you got to be careful of the grass. And then there's the braking zone for this next right-hander. You can run all the way out across the curb from here too. That's another point where drivers can take advantage.
Well, certainly as well, don't get me wrong, you can run it quite wide, but then it kind of almost Achilles you for the next left-hander that they're going through there. But I do wonder as well, Cara Dudgeon will have her dad watching and potentially being the crew chief in this occasion, and I do wonder if staying in 10th place, if she can keep onto the toe of the 312 car of Arnaud Gonest, this could work out very well for her. Starting in pole for the main race, the feature, could be very beneficial. And then not only that, she's close enough to capitalize on any opportunities should they present themselves. And I believe Hartman just maybe brushed the curb a little bit there, brushed the wall, and that opened it up to Gonest. But that could mean as well that, not only because you start pole, but if these guys get tangled up together, she's far enough back, she can go and dodge the incident and potentially sling herself up a little bit further through the grid.
Side by side through the S's is never a nice time for anybody. It's exciting for sure, but I think it might be a little bit of a clench moment there. Janest ahead into the braking zone, but he tried to turn in. He tried, but unfortunately That was a very good defense there from Andrew Hardman, and Janist could not take the line he wanted. I think he might have lost the rear end a little bit there as well. And once again, that will keep Kara Dudgeon in the battle.
Well, he's definitely would have got a slow down from that. I'd be very surprised if he didn't. Don't get me wrong, he didn't take the exit road, but I'd say he did take a good portion of the grass there, doing some lawn mowing duties there, ladies and gentlemen. And that's put the opportunity there at Kara Dudgeon. She's about 7 tenths back, but there is battles happening throughout the field. Right now, Zach Buchanan is currently getting to a little bit of a scrap there with the 49 car of Nelson Mason. Pro versus Am.
Indeed, for 6th place, Jamie LeVay, after making the move on these guys, is jetting away and trying his best to catch up to the podium battles. So that's another storyline we'll have to keep track of in the final 2 laps. But for now, Mason under loads of pressure from a very successful driver at BiS, Zach Buchanan. Can the blue number 40 do anything to try and get past into the top 6? Racine Fazui continuing to be the picture of consistency up the front there with yet another fastest lap of a 39.0. But here comes Zach Buchanan up through the run here. Nelson Mason, it seems, having a couple of small tech issues on my end. Hopefully that doesn't amount to anything, but it's a double slipstream. Here comes Andrew Hardman to try and take advantage. He's going to do it 3 wide coming down the back straight, and Nelson Mason decides discretion is the better part of valor, and he lets them go.
Definitely, you do not want to try and force it 3 wide through there. Certainly 2 wide is it's doable, and at times a little bit optimistic. You really got to have trust in your competition, but certainly 3 wide, definitely a little bit too brave there. But it's looking out very, very well for these guys. And don't get me wrong, the more they fight, the more they are dropping off the back of Jamie LeVay and actually Andrew Hardman as well. So we did have 3 white cars and Buchanan kind of scrapping out, and now it's come down to a freeway fight with Kara Dudgeon and Arno Ganest. Almost getting a little bit of a toe on that. Arno Ganest about 1.3 seconds back behind this battle. You can see them there in the background.
Oh, Buchanan was incredibly late there coming onto the brakes, almost ran into the back of Hardman. But let's see what this battle between Janest and Dudgeon will look like coming through this lap here. Both of them running maybe a tiny bit wide at the apex there, but it's not the end of the world. It's actually a very hard line to pick through that hairpin. It's all about the exit coming onto the final corner and the final straight. The last lap begins, and Racine Fazui is into the 38s. Meanwhile, battle on for 11th. Athena Leclerc and George Griffiths fighting over this last spot outside the top 10. And Griffiths breaking the draft and defending it nicely. Can Athena get it done here? Athena has actually had a pretty good run in this race so far, but it's on for P2 here. Ozzy Milwain gets past Clay Morris.
Well, you say that is for now, and you can already see on the corner exit that Clay Morris is all over that rear wing of the number 14 car of Ozzy Milwain. And Marshall Crocker Jr. lurking back there in 4th. He is about 5 tenths, 6 tenths of a second behind him, and he's absolutely in the prime place to capitalize on this. This could be exactly what he needs to help in the amateur championship point standings, but right now he is there and he is fighting. And certainly Marshall Crocker Jr., from what we've seen so far, definitely a long game racer, ladies and gentlemen. Certainly not going for the big dives, not going for the big moves, but has had incredible consistency and attrition for the most part, and already getting slingshotted, pulling up through these guys. You can see there Clay Morris looking to make a move on the inside, thinks better of it. Maybe we're going to get a move as they head round the left-hander coming next.
Yeah, only a couple of corners to go. This battle is still far from over. And Racine Fazui up ahead is about to enter the final corner. Is there any move to be made for second? It looks like they're a bit too far apart for it, but Racine Fazui up front is going to add yet another victory to his roster this season. The championship leader on top by a country mile in race 1 of the Radical Canada Cup here at Watkins Glen, and sets the fastest lap again on the way through the final lap too. All of the drivers we were looking at on that final lap finish in that order. Looks like the battles fizzled out at the end, but fortunately they all got to the finish cleanly. And by virtue of Kara Dudgeon finishing in 10th, that means that she's got pole for race 2. That's going to be a very interesting fight there. I believe she did that at Barber as well. excuse me. So we'll have to wait and
Bless you,
see on
sir.
that.
Bless you. Certainly, it was not at the Australian barber. It was actually at the Alabama barber. I just want to specify that for anybody at home who's watching and a particular fan of that track. But a great job there by Racine Fazou. And you saw a little bit about a battle there with Richard Swindell's one of the older gentlemen there in the field. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go through your results in just a few moments. I do believe there's actually still a couple of cars out running on the track. I see John Benblid, Cedric O'Hyan, Nick Polliard, Ella Martin, and Matthew Mailman yet to cross the checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen, as they're closing in very, very quickly. Actually, it looks like Mailman might actually be quite near the Radical Academy driver of Ella Martin.
Yes, looks like about a second or so between them, and Martin is, it seems, cruising towards the end of the race. So this might be a position at the final corner for Mailman. No, actually, it looks like Martin's going to hold him off. Nicely done. Martin does have a bit of damage on her car, so I think she was just nursing that thing home to the finish of the race. And that is your final two cars across the line.
Well, certainly, there's definitely a lot of chaos in the start of that race. I sympathise for our director there. Certainly a lot going on all at once, but a predictable win there by Racine Fazou. But certainly, you know, he's going to have to work even harder starting from P10 in the next round. But we're going to get a quick look at the results in just a moment. And ladies and gentlemen, here they are. Racine Fazou takes your win, not just outright, but for the pro class as well, with Ozzy Milwain in second. That's one of the previous winners here at BIS, with Clay Morris in third for Radical Canada. Marshall Crocker Jr. yet again delivers in the amateur championship there. Sound like Mr. Arkwright then from Open All Hours. And a little bit of a stutter, but Marshall Crocker Jr. takes fourth place overall and the amateur win, with Jamie LeVay in fifth, Andrew Harbin in sixth, Zachary Buchanan, again, another one of the previous winners here at BIS, in seventh, Arnold Gonest in eighth, with Nelson Mason getting his ninth place overall and second in the AMS, and then Cara Dudgeon, one of the newer drivers, one of the people we saw actually yesterday having huge pace there, in 10th.
Yeah, flip that top 10, and that is your top 10 for Race 2's grid. George Griffiths beats Athena Leclerc to the line for 11th. Joey Haynes finishes in 13th place. 14th for Nicholas Collender, with Christian Gritzko falling back a bit in race 1. Really good run through the field for Brady Clapham. Started 23rd, finishes 16th. Richard Hibbs in 17th, with Matthew Creamy also making up bulk places to finish 18th. Swindells and Broomhead will round out your top 20. Not the best of races for our league admin.
Oh, that's all right. He's a great league admin, but the racing we often like to criticize him for. As we see 21st, we got Keenan Blades with Ivan Langerout, who also tried to moonlight yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, in the Radical Esports Academy there. He was there in 22nd, with Harlan Goldblum in 23rd. Excuse me. Tyler Scaralli in 24th, with John Bemblow having that very unfortunate incident. Certainly not what he wanted with that points battle going on in 25th. Cedric O'Hyan teammate there, Lima Racing in 26th, with Nick Polliard in 27th, Alan Martin in 28th, Matthew Mailman in 29th, and Diego Zuccarelli, again, another one of these people fighting for the amateurs there, in 30th, with Jean-Francois Larocque in 31st. Chad Payton takes 32nd, with Phil Nels in 33rd. Mark Boyd getting caught up very early on there in 34th. A real-life Radical driver, ladies and gentlemen. Auto Eclectic Motorsports as well. And 35th takes Doug Meadows and Robert Covey, our bearded friend, in 36th.
Yeah, not the best of races for Robert Covey there. He got big damage early on and had to spend a lot of time in the pits. Hopefully race 2 goes better for him. But before race 2, we should have an opportunity to thank the sponsors of this fantastic championship. Well, are you looking to own a Radical or feel the thrill of Radical racing firsthand? Contact Robert Burgess at Radical Canada to buy your own car or arrange a rental and dive into the excitement of Radical competition. Email address is right there, robert@radicalcanada.ca to get started. FEL Motorsports is a premier real-world racing organization that brings thrilling high-stakes competition to tracks across Canada, supporting and showcasing talented drivers in professional motorsport series. Much like BIS, FEL provides a platform for racers to push their limits. They've also recently announced the exciting addition of the legendary Trois-Rivières Street Circuit event to their 2025 calendar. I love Trois-Rivières. Fantastic stuff. For more information and to stay updated on the 2025 season, visit FEL's website. And last but not least, M-Zone is a trusted brand in automotive care and maintenance, providing top quality products designed to keep vehicles running smoothly and looking their best. Known for their performance-driven solutions, M-Zone shares BIS's passion for excellence, making them a perfect real-world counterpart in the automotive space. Discover M-Zone's full range of products and elevate your vehicle care by visiting their website at mzone.ca.
Oh, again, a huge thanks to our sponsors there, but we're going to take a short break and give you guys a new video we've got here on the channel. So take a look at that, and we're going to see you in about 1 minute's time.
How was it?
It was awesome. One of the coolest things I've ever done.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back there. As we saw that video, actually, it was from seeing some of the last year winners. So, ladies and gentlemen, Zach Buchanan, brace your screen, as did Ozzy Milwain, our pro and amateur winners there from last season. Certainly, I'm a little bit envious myself. I would love to drive one of these, and certainly, even if these guys aren't successful necessarily winning the championship, if you want to rent a Radical, certainly we can sort that out. Speak to Rob Burgess, ladies and gentlemen, and if you're having a hard time contacting him, contact us instead. We will point you in the right direction. Certainly myself, I may have to give my line of credit a little bit of a flex there and have a little bit of fun in a race car. I mean, that's how dreams start, right, ladies and gentlemen? But we're going to have a quick look at the top 10 for the grid and see a quick look at the order. Here you go. Cara Judgeon, that 10th place is going to secure her back on the pole there. She's going to be leading it first with Nelson Mason, another one of the amateur drivers there, in second place. As we have a look at third, Arno Ganes is definitely in a prime position to capitalize on this. He's there in third with Zach Buchanan in fourth. In fifth place, we have Andrew Hardman alongside Jamie LeVay with Marshall Crocker Jr. in seventh and Clay Morris in eighth. And then rounding out the top 10, we've got Ozzy Milwain and Racine Fazui.
Yeah, we'll see what Racine Fazui can do from the back of the top 10 to see if he can take another victory here. And Cara Dudgeon has already started on race 2 pole once this season, as we mentioned, at Barber, but her race fell apart when, unfortunately, the tyres were left checked on in the pit stop menu. And so she spent a lot more time in the pits than was necessary, and that's what lost her the chance to fight for victory. Hopefully, they've sorted out that issue there in the 305, and Dudgeon will be able to have a nice, smooth pit stop here. It's some lovely cool temperatures as well here at Watkins Glen in the virtual world. 20 Celsius air temperature, 27 track temperature. So plenty of grip to be gotten out of those tyres. But I got to say, Zippy, it's really good that we saw that video, which we've seen a couple of times this season of last season's champions getting that Radical test, because that's what this championship is for. That's the prize that they're racing for, a test in a real Radical sports car. So at the moment, Racine Fazui, I mean, he's well in the lead of the championship. He's got that almost locked in, but he still has to be professional about this in the last couple of rounds. Still needs to try and fight his way back to the front.
Absolutely, and certainly, you know, the prize is just within his grasp, as I'm hearing.
Marshall Crocker has dropped from the server. So
I've still got him on my end.
Oh, okay, right. That's obviously an old message. Well, Marshall Crocker. Oh, I see. Okay, my apologies. Looks like
okay,
Marshall Crocker. Yeah, Marshall. Okay. So let me explain. Marshall Crocker Jr. is the one racing here, but it seems Marshall Crocker Sr., spotting for him, was the one who dropped from the server. Okay, look, the Gardner gaff has been run and done. We are done. Okay. Oh no. Well,
Well,
yeah.
to try and defend my my poor, suffering Australian colleague, he is feeling a little bit under the weather. I just look under the weather most of the time, but he is feeling a little bit under the weather there. As you can see, Marshall Crocker Jr. rocking that Rogue Energy onesie at this point. I gotta say, I'm a little bit jealous. If you had a Blade race suit, that would be fantastic. You can even get like the Nova Scotia Blade. Our director agreeing with me, he's in that. And you could have the matching pajamas and everything, but you can actually see the detail I never knew we had in iRacing. You can see the seatbelt buckles and stuff, the straps. Yeah, we were just admiring that. A little bit of an Easter egg here in iRacing that we, despite being in the booth quite frequently, new to us.
Yes, indeed. And, it's awesome that iRacing allows you to change your driver's suit. Of course, Jamie LeVay obviously either not getting that memo or intentionally ignoring it. Complete white race suit for his driver and helmet as well in the sim. But the formation lap is already over. And now it's up to Cara Dudgeon to lead us away here in race 2. We got an 18-lap race with a compulsory pit stop to come, and Dudgeon is away. Fantastic start, perfect start for the Radical Academy driver, and Nelson Mason is going to have to defend from Zach Buchanan all over again.
Well, you can already see Dudgeon doing everything she can to try and keep hold of that lead. Nelson Mason's very much hot in pursuit, and that gap is closing down. Zach Buchanan looking to capitalize on that opportunity, as is Arno Ganes. He's already in the slipstream, and it's going to be a very defensive move here for Dudgeon. She's going to want to defend the inside, and that's exactly what she's doing. But Buchanan's, they're going to push the free ride. Definitely not a move I would go for. And Dudgeon's saying, you know what? I'm going to live to fight another day. Backs out of it. You see there, that looks like one of them, Nelson Mason, taken to the grass, but they all managed to get through cleanly. Buchanan just running away with it at this point, very aggressive, but it's paid off on this occasion.
Yeah, Racine Fazui just sitting pretty behind, and he's already found his way up to 9th place, but it's still side by side here behind Dudgeon for 2nd. That is a massive opportunity for Zach Buchanan, and Dudgeon's still having to defend here. A little bit of contact between herself and Jamie LeVay on the way down into the toe of the boot. Arno Genest is making this battle very difficult here. 3-way fight for 2nd place, and there's more contact, more bump drafting as Genest tries to send it up the inside of Dudgeon here. And it looks like LeVay is already through, but man, Cara's getting swamped at the moment. Where do you put your car?
Well, certainly she's doing everything she can to hold this battle off, and don't get me wrong, as soon as you go offline, it slows you down, so you're almost stuck on the conveyor belt at this point. But I did see LeVay, he had a little bit of a damage on the right front of his splitter, so certainly he did not get away scot-free. And Cara Dudgeon, you know what, this is a younger lady as well, certainly new to the BiS Radical Canada Cup, and you know what, had incredible pace so far, but having incredible pace is one thing, racecraft is another, and there's still certainly, although it's a tough struggle right now, I can see bigger and better things certainly along the horizon, as it looks like Fazui is getting caught up behind a couple of these cars with very similar paints, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a quick look. I believe that is Nelson Mason and Clay Morris.
Yeah, indeed. Mason trying to recover from his slowdown at the chicane on lap 1. Well, they're about to get up to the point where he got that penalty, and this is a lot of slipstream here. It's actually a massive pack that these guys are in at the moment, and they all make it through cleanly, but oh dear.
So I saw Ganes going off, I'm sorry, Reese, in the, I've got 2 screens going and watching the action here, and Dudgeon was almost able to capitalize on that, leaving the door open a little bit there as she's very much under attack from Andrew Harbin, but certainly a huge pack, as you were saying. Actually, if you look through the whole field, certainly all the way down to 30th place, my timing screen is lit up with red, ladies and gentlemen, which means they are within a second and a half, 2 seconds of each other. Incredibly big, incredibly tight pack. As you can see here, the battle continues. Arno Ganes taking the defensive line. Dudgeon's going to send it there on the outside, and you can see there, it looks like Andrew Harbin looking to try and capitalize on it as well, as Harbin now putting the attack on Arno Ganes.
Racine Fazui also shuffled Nelson Mason out of the way at the heel of the boot there and has made his way through into 7th position. Well, his next target's going to be Clay Morris. Meanwhile, keep an eye on Genest here. Now it's a battle for the podium. Dudgeon has not been able to keep up with Zach Buchanan or Jamie LeVay as they jet away in the top 2 positions, and it looks like a bit of a cork in the bottle scenario. Look at how many cars are in frame at the moment. This is the battle for 3rd place. Oh no! Andrew Hardman off at turn 1 into the wall, and that is going to be some major damage for him potentially. We'll have to wait and see on that. Dudgeon, Jeunesse, Fuzui, they managed to hold on, and actually Morris stopped at the side of the circuit there. Something happened to him out of turn 1.
This is definitely going to be a replay scenario, as lo and behold, here it comes. And that looks like Clay Morris went in a little bit hot, absolutely smoked Andrew Harbin, and you know what? It's gone. That's it for me. I feel like that. I think that was a sportsmanship pullover at that point, and you know, just. I don't think Clay Morris is really in the running for the championship, and obviously where they're part of the Radical Canada team as well, it's just gone, you know, maybe I don't want to get involved in this battle per se, but that doesn't mean there isn't battles happening elsewhere. Onogonest has been able to snake away that third spot away from Kara Dudgeon, but for how long? Racine Fusui next on the lineup, and certainly, you know what, nobody has been able to stop this driver in the 58 machine for Racine Esports. All you can do is hold on and do everything you can, make the car as wide as possible, and while this is a spec series, it's a fixed setup, ladies and gentlemen, you certainly want to put them wings out as wide as possible to try and stop the 58.
Yeah, indeed. But if there's anything Racine knows how to do, it's not only stay out front and build the gap, it's get through on people. He knows exactly where to place the car to try and shuffle people wide. And I expect we're going to be seeing a bit of that on this upcoming lap here. Already in the slipstream of Kara Dudgeon coming down into turn 1. And, well, the fastest lap is trading places quite a bit. It does go to Racine Fuzui for now. 139.4. We can expect him to be running about half a second faster at maximum pace, but here's where he picks up the slipstream off Dudgeon coming out of the S's, and then the momentum comes. The slipstream is so strong in these radicals that you absolutely jet past, but Dudgeon's doing the right thing here, going defensive. She's actually going to give up the position to Racine Fuzui, probably recognizing that that's the championship leader, and he's been looking aggressive so far.
Well, certainly you've got to ask yourself, you know, do you want to play the long game or the short game? And don't get me wrong, myself, if I was not in the championship standings, I'm going to fight with Racine Fusui and everybody on the grid purely for the experience and for the challenge, which is trying to see how well I can do. But if you're in the points battle and certainly fighting for that, you've got to think about the long game. And actually, speaking of the points battle, that's Marshall Crocker Jr. currently under attack by Athena Leclerc and doing everything that she can to get by, who's currently getting they're back at it with George Griffiths. Actually, these guys were fighting wheel to wheel, head to head in the last race, and yet again it's going on again. This time Athena is standing on top with George Griffiths currently behind. As you see there, Crocker Jr. a little bit of a nudge there on Joey Haynes.
Yeah, but Haynes has got the inside for the next corner. He's going to dive up there, but he loses the rear end. And Crocker tags him on the way through, but Joey Haynes will lose 3 positions there after gaining 1. Ultimately not a great investment, so he'll have to try and gear that one up for a future lap. For now, though, Athena Leclerc has to keep an eye out for the black and blue machine of George Griffiths. Majors Esports with a bit of a bump draft there on their Radical Academy driver. Defensive line for the 61 of Athena Leclerc, and then have a look at the exit. George Griffiths absolutely nailing it, but he can't get through at the S's, has to wait here. Now Crocker Jr. is a sitting duck, Zippy. Oh, but Griffiths is going to get boxed in here. There's no opportunity for him to get through.
Now, this is my kind of racing, certainly the kind of tactics that I would generally employ. All right, you might lose 1 position, but 1 position is better than losing 2. And certainly, I personally like doing it with lap traffic. That's my personal favorite. And, you know, certainly it's definitely irritated the competition when I do it, but completely legitimate. And if anything, you are making full use of your surroundings. And George Griffiths maybe a little bit fired up now behind the wheel of that race car, looking to try and get the move done on the 9th place car of Marshall Crocker Jr. Certainly the father and son team of the Crockers. I almost said the Crocker Juniors, of the Marshall Crockers will be very, you know what I'm trying to say, will be
Marshall
very much
Crocker Jr.
Yeah. No, because that implies he's had a kid. I don't know if his dad's ready for that, but I don't know if Junior's ready for that. But certainly, you know, the father and son team doing everything they can and having great success so far, as we see Kara Dudgeon now applying pressure to last year's pro winner, Ozzy Milwain.
Yeah, indeed. Ozzy Milwain has been working his way through very nicely, hasn't he? He's up 4 places from where he started, and Kara, you know, she's still holding on to that position in the top. 6 can still do something from here if the pit stop is executed correctly, and the pit stop will be coming up rather soon, I would imagine. Around about the midpoint of the race is where we can expect people to start coming into the lane. For Zooey, meanwhile, well, he's made his way up into third. He's on the back of Jamie LeVay, and he is already down to a 39.1 in terms of the fastest lap. So keep an eye out for that. Griffiths, meanwhile, take 2 here on Marshall Crocker Jr. Athena Leclerc was able to get by the both of them on the way into the chicane on the last lap, but here we go. Oh, Athena not with a great run down the straight. She's going to defend into the bus stop here, and Griffiths still not able to get past Crocker.
Well, I've got to say, Athena was very much on the defensive there. Crocker Jr. doing exactly my kind of tactics. And while that is a very good tactic, don't get me wrong, it is slowing them down. And that has brought this gentleman here, Christian Gritzko. He's now in the barrel. And he's not only that, he's brought Joey Haynes with him, who you can see just ahead of you. Right behind Gritzko is Brady Clapham and Richard Swindells. All 3, 4, 5. Hang on a second there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, I can't count like that. Reese, take over a minute. I need to try and count.
All right, cool. Well, let's focus on the action on screen for the moment. Gritzko trying to find his way past Joey Haynes and George Griffiths, and Haynes will sneak up the inside of Griffiths there. Nicely done move. No grip out there on the asphalt runoff, apparently, for Griffiths. He's going to lose that a little. Nelson Mason and Keenan Blades just ahead of these guys, trading spots as well as Gritzko tries to find his way through. Yeah, not much room being left there by George Griffiths. And oh my lord, that's Keenan Blades, unfortunately, who's found the wall in the final couple corners.
Well, that blade appears to have turned back on its owner, and that is not what he was looking for, but it was a 7-car battle. Ladies and gentlemen, the Zippy map did actually manage to count a couple of rows there, and let's see exactly what happened. Got a little bit loose. Oh! That looked like one of the auto eclectic cars. That might have been Mark Boyd there.
It
just
was,
going off
yeah.
The paint scheme. Definitely not the night he was looking for, and I believe Mark Boyd has indeed retired from the session. Actually, we've lost Mark Boyd, Clay Morris, Robert Covey, and Richard Hibbs so far. I know Covey got caught up in an earlier incident on lap 1, people pushing it maybe a little bit aggressively there, but you can see there, not really anything Mark Boyd could do. He was along for the ride. You can see just that radical right in the line of fire and absolute assassination of these motor vehicles.
Yeah, it's always difficult when someone loses it in front of you in that section of the circuit because you've already committed to the exit and the run into the carousel. It's very difficult to alter your line there. So Mark Boyd will be fuming at that, but sometimes that's just how it goes. We have also lost Ella Martin, Clay Morris, Robert Covey, and Richard Hibbs from this race. And it looks like Hibbs didn't even take to the start, which is a real shame. So the retirements list is steadily growing here. Hopefully a few of these drivers will be able to get repairs done and get back out onto the circuit and maybe get some championship points here in the second last round of the championship. For now, keep an eye on car 26 Diego Zuccarelli as he's chasing John Benvalid, Nicholas Colander, and then back up here to the run through from Marshall Crocker Jr., who's coming to the pit lane.
Well, I do believe this could be a tactical pit stop, but certainly one of the earlier guys to pit. They're not even halfway through the race yet. And if you've got a really good draft, I would not be looking to pit early. Don't get me wrong, the undercut has proven to be successful in some race series that we've covered here on Pit Road Productions. But generally, myself, I would not want to lose the draft. So the only time I'm going to generally take that early pit is if I feel that I'm being held up by the competition. And certainly, you know what? Generally, it's not going to end up being that way. You're going to have to really, it's going to have to be worthwhile, but sometimes the undercut can be beneficial, but then on the exit, if you don't come back into traffic, let alone traffic of a similar pace, it can be absolutely catastrophic for your final result.
Yeah, certainly can. Watkins Glen is a track where you need a draft buddy, and Marshall Crocker is out there all on his own at the moment. He did get the front bumper repaired, though. The right section of the front bumper was bent in a little bit for Marshall, and so he's taken that opportunity to fuel the car up, hopefully to the end of the race, and also get the car repaired as well. You do get one fast repair in these races, so take advantage of that when you can. Now Marshall just has to focus on basically setting qualifying laps from this point on, but pitting so early and having no one come in with him, he'll be at a disadvantage in the middle phase.
Well, certainly, if you look at the standings right now, this is exactly what Diego Zuccarelli and John Benvalid are going to be hoping for. He is the biggest competition. Those three are fighting it out in the amateur battle, but Benvalid and Zuccarelli still yet to make that pit stop. So the question is, where are they going to emerge? Actually, if we can go on board there, we've got these two guys fighting amongst themselves right now. So this is literally the amateur class battle going on, albeit in oh, we got somebody in the pits there. We're currently in 11th and 12th right now is the where this battle sits right now. But I do wonder if these guys are almost going to mimic each other. If Benvalid takes the pits, is Zuccarelli going to follow him in? And certainly, you know, it's a good place to be in. If it was me, I'd want to be driving the number 26 car right now. Try and apply as much pressure to John Benvalid as possible. But certainly, having driven against this man myself, I can say he is not easily shaken, and he does know how to pilot this car. Benvalid doesn't even put up a fight. I believe he's going to try and save some fuel behind the number 26.
Yeah, potentially shorten the amount of fuel that he has to take in the pit stop. We'll have to wait and see on that. The three drivers that came into the pits that time by were Athena Leclerc, Christian Gritzko, and Brady Clapham. And so Crocker Jr., he had one lap of suffering there all on his own with no slipstream, but now he's behind Athena. They both pitted, and they can both try and work their way forward from here. See Benvalid, he's actually losing a bit more pace there, it seems. See, he hasn't been able to keep up with Diego since he passed, but I think maybe a slowdown potentially. Have to wait and see on that. Regardless, Brady Clapham out behind Christian Gritzko now, and we'll see where he can finish from here. Remember, oh, actually, it looks like it was a black flag. Oh, he does have a black flag, does Brady Clapham. So, okay, that's obviously for potentially an unsafe pit exit or speeding in the pits or something to that effect. Regardless, back up to the front, Racine Fazui into the 38s again on lap pace, and Zach Buchanan will have to give way to him here, coming into the bus stop, and Racine Fazui back to the lead of the race.
Well, I did have a little bit of a rookie moment there. The mic was muted, and certainly Buchanan is not going to let Fazui get away without absolutely making him work for it, ladies and gentlemen. Although Buchanan did indeed get the pleasure of driving an SR3 last season, that doesn't mean he doesn't want to do it again. And certainly, if not, he's still going to try and capitalize on the draft that Fazui can provide. And certainly, it's going to pull him further away from Jamie LeVay, which is, you know, another one of the championship rivals. As you can see there, Buchanan actually pushed up into the pro class, and understandably so. After, you know what, if you win the thing, you definitely got to get moved up. But, you know, doing everything he can, and this is only going to help Buchanan at this point. You can see LeVay in the background, and Buchanan is, you know, he doesn't really want to get in the battle between himself, between Fazui and LeVay, but certainly, if he can keep staying under the rear wing of the 58 car, this could help him long-term in the points.
Yeah, certainly could. Just try and stick with Racine, but you know, we've seen already that it's very difficult to do. Racine's just able to get more out of the car than anyone else at the moment, and Buchanan takes the opportunity to go for the lane. LeVay follows him in, and well, it looks like they aren't going to have. Oh yeah, actually, Dudgeon's coming in too, and a little bit of an adventurous pit entry there for Nelson Mason.
Yeah, that was definitely, I don't know if I would want to wear white for that one. Maybe a darker shade could have been more camouflaging or cosmetically appropriate for that pit entry, but certainly it could have ended very badly. Now, we are going to keep an eye on Cara Judge, and certainly we're hoping that she doesn't keep and get some fresh tires. We're going to see if that car does indeed go up. It's looking good.
Yes, it is.
No tires.
Right.
Now, the question is, has the fuel level been set correctly? Is she going to get out, or is this... That looked pretty good. We're going to find out the time in just a second. Actually, Reese, I'd say that's one of your specialities. Let us know how this time compares to some of the other drivers that have pit. Okay,
so yeah, it looks pretty solid compared to everyone else. Fastest pit stop we've seen so far has been Andrew Hardman, actually, 8.2 seconds in the lane, but that was 5 laps ago, so I think that was due to the damage that he suffered. So Buchanan with the fastest conventional pit stop of 9 seconds. Dudgeon's pit stop around 10.5, so it looks like it could have been a little bit quicker, but still, it's a long sight better than the pit stop that she got at Barber, where the tires were left on.
Yeah, certainly these races not long enough to really give you the return of the investment of fresh rubber. Certainly, you know, while the iRacing pit mechanics are pretty talented, they're not quite talented enough to make that pit stop a viable opportunity. We're looking at John Benvelid right now. He's one of the people here in this amateur battle, and I don't believe he is yet. No, I think he has indeed been in the pit, so he's currently there in 17th place. Now, whereabouts is Zuccarelli? That is some of his competition as well. Crockett Jr. is up in 11th. That's the main contender. And Zuccarelli, he's just coming in the pit. So we're going to try and keep an eye. Let's see just how close it's going to be. Certainly, we saw that Benvelid did drop back behind Zuccarelli by about a couple of seconds there. As we see Mike Broomhead, league admin, he's coming into the pits from, at the time, 6th place. Well, he's not going to get to enjoy that for very long. And yeah, we've got more people coming in the pits as well.
All right, so it looks like lap 12 is the big lap for everyone who hasn't pitted already to come in, and Diego Zuccarelli's pit stop is complete, 9.8 seconds, and I'm looking to see where he's going to come out with regards to John Benvelid. 12-second pit stop for Benvelid, Zuccarelli 9.8 second stop, so he's gained a bit of an advantage there on the way through the lane, and he is going to come out ahead, it seems. Good stuff from Diego Zuccarelli, but for now, Tyler Scaralli with his teammate at Britannia iSports, Michael Broomhead. Broomhead just emerging out of the lane himself. Man, here we go. This is the stage now, the final 6 or so laps of the race where the battles really come into their own, and have a look at that run there from Benvelid. Tell you what, I can now say that I've raced against John Benvelid as well in the F1600s at Bathurst, and you're right, Zippy, he is a tough driver to get past.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to put the elbows out. Certainly himself, Robert Kobe, myself, certainly, you know, don't get me wrong, Benvelid definitely has good pace as well. Certainly just looking out the box, he generally puts in a pretty solid, respectable time. But when it comes to being defensive driving, I'd say the three of us are certainly some of the more formidable drivers out there in the field. Maybe not as quite as aggressive in terms of getting positions back, but when it comes to putting the elbows out, oh, we make them as wide as humanly possible. Right now, Benvelid is going to have the pressure of Tyler Scaralli right behind him. Mike Broomhead, the Britannia's iSports fellow driver as well. But the battle for Benvelid really is ahead of him. It's about 2.5 seconds ahead of him, indeed, of the 26 car of Diego Zuccarelli.
Oh, okay. So let's take stock of where we're at the moment. You know what? I've just taken a look at, as we see Nick Polliard and Chad Payton swapping spots there. That's the battle for 24th place. Racine Fazoui's pit stop was incredibly short. I'm looking at 7.5 seconds on my timing. It's 7.9 on the broadcast timing. So, yeah, he barely had to put any fuel in that car at all. I'm very interested in that.
Yeah, I'm getting a 7.4 on mine, so it just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, if you have 3 watches, one of them is going to tell you the right time, or they're all indeed going to be inaccurate. But certainly, you know, a little bit of a variation here, and we're just going to say that my one's the one that's right, just because I want to feel superior, just for a brief moment at this point.
Right,
but
I'll give you that.
Wow, I didn't think you would going to get. I did just hear a little bit of a crash as well, but not seeing anything on the timing. But at least not my timing. Maybe Reese and Christian got something else. But Racine Fazui, an incredible pit stop there. And I did hear a crash. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyler Scaralli, that front of that car appears to have become open concept. We're going to have to get a replay and find out exactly what happened. But we do know he was having a little bit of a fight there with John Benvelid.
So Scaralli on the inside here, and he tried to get it done around the outside, but Benvelid was still there. And a little bit of contact, spinning Scaralli around. And it looked like that might have been Nicholas Collender that tagged him on the way through as well. So heavy damage then for Tyler Scaralli. And, well, he had no choice but to pull it off to the side and tow back to the pits.
The bus stop giveth and the bus stop taketh away. We've got an onboard shot here from Nicholas Collender, and you can see here side by side on the bus stop, again, a risky strategy. And honestly, nothing he can do. I mean, he got actually wounded in that as well. Certainly, you know, he was along for the ride at that point, but I say fair play to him. The car had a little bit of a glitch there, but then keeps fighting there with the Lima racing car.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, you know, I've been commentating on Nicholas Colander for a very long time now, and I gotta say, he's certainly one of the braver ones out there. He was able to stick his nose in, and now he's right in the middle of this battle for 14th place. He's going to get pincer moved, though. John Benvalit on his left, Michael Broomhead on his right. What do you do? How hard do you fight? Well, he's not going to fight against Broomhead, but he will keep Benvalit behind him for now.
Yeah, definitely, and that means that Broomhead has pushed out a little bit wide there on the next corner, and it looks like Colander has gone side by side. The Lima Racing machines are going for it, and I thought they were going to go free wide again. They're thinking about it, certainly, depending on the camera angle. Yeah, it's hard to say on the camera angle, certainly, but we have a train of 4 cars here, ladies and gentlemen, and at the minute, they're doing a brilliant rendition of La Cuca Rushes. Broomhead not sure if he should defend the outside, the inside, under heavy attack, and certainly it's going to push them further back from the cars ahead, but they're having a hell of a lot of fun doing it.
Oh, certainly. And I mean, Colander ran very wide in that turn there, but he's managed to stay in touch with these two. As long as he can keep in the slipstream, as long as he can be very careful not to let Cedric O'Hyan by, then he can stay in touch with this battle. It looks like Ozzy Milwain and Arnaud Genest have just come into the lane again. There's been a big problem for the both of them. Let's see what happened here. It was on the way through these. Oh, Cara Dudgeon! Oh, my Lord! No, that's not Cara. That's not Cara. That's Ella Martin, the other Radical Academy driver that went for a huge spin. There's Cara Dudgeon that just slipped through there. Wow, so what happened to Ella to trigger all of that?
Yeah, we're going to need to see that one again. Maybe get a different point of view here. So Ella's there going around. Car is intact. I know that corner there can be a little bit slippery on exit. Going quite slow, and just absolutely, I don't think there was maybe a harder issue, maybe a slowdown, I'm not too sure, but the difference in pace absolutely massive there, and just get absolutely obliterated by the field behind her.
Yeah, so she was going slow, letting drivers by. I don't know if there was maybe a problem with her mirrors or something, but man, that's a very awkward situation, isn't it? And ultimately, that has affected the battle for the top 5, which is not ideal. But regardless, Ella will come into the pits and get that repaired. Quite a few drivers wounded out of that one, and it's also granted a few free positions to the likes of this lot. Marshall Crocker Jr. now finds himself back in the top 5, but he's got 3 cars behind him looking to get past Griffiths, Haynes, and there's Athena Leclerc at the rear of the train.
Well, for a debut round, Athena Leclerc is doing absolutely fantastic. It's great to have her here at the BiS Radical Canada Cup. But I will say this, you know, certainly a teaching moment there for one of the Radical Academy drivers. And certainly, don't get me wrong, you know, these things happen, but they do these weekly training sessions there. And I think, you know what, that's something we'll drop them a little hint there. Just that way, don't get me wrong, the intention was absolutely fantastic. Then maybe, you know, just a little teachable moment there. Just that way, you know, we can avoid it happening again. And I've done it. I'm sure, Reese, you've done it. Christian, I'm sure he's done it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure many people in this field have done it. The intention's good, but certainly not what the guys behind were expecting. But we're going to continue back with the battle there. Now, the question is, do we go and check out the battle for 5th place to about 8th place with Marshall Crocker Jr.? We got that one going. And we also have the battle there. Actually, Diego Zuccarelli, Richard Swindells has caught up to him pretty heavily there. He may be getting in the battle as well.
Yeah, indeed. Could see Swindells potentially getting a top 10, but regardless, Griffiths! Oh, Griffiths! Woo! Oh dear!
Saved.
How on earth did he save that one? I can't tell you the amount of times I've done that exact mistake and it's ended with me in the wall, but Griffiths is going to go right back to trying to get past Joey Haynes. It's given some breathing room to Crocker. How is this battle going to work out? We have 2 laps to go up the front of the field. We are rapidly reaching the tipping point of this race.
Well, I do believe the marshal may have been waving a brown flag on that occasion, certainly, and then doing a swift duck and cover movement. If that was real life, I know I certainly would have ducked it behind for some cover. Very, very, very on edge. And I've got to say, what an absolutely incredible save there by the 25 car of George Griffiths from Major Esports. Absolutely fantastic job. But that has opened up even more opportunity there for Athena Leclerc, who certainly sat right behind them. And this battle does continue. It's currently for about, let's say, 6th place, even 5th place. If Marshall Crocker Jr., if he can get caught back up again. But ahead from the car we've got right now, we've got Athena Leclerc. Right ahead of her, we have George Griffiths. But for for how long. We've seen Athena be quite aggressive and actually backed off there, choosing not to make the pass.
Yeah, this is interesting here from Athena. She's actually driving with her head at the moment and sticking in the draft regardless. You know, it's very tempting to go for that dive, but remember, we've still got a lap of this race after this. I think it'd be better to make the move in a part of the track where you know you're going to be able to keep the position, because if she was to make the move there, then Griffiths would have been able to very easily get back past her. So I think it's a very wise decision by Athena to back out there.
Generally, Reese, I do tend to agree with your tactics, but on that one, I'm sorry, I would have absolutely sent it. Where they have another car ahead, I would have gone, okay, yoink, thank you very much, and then gone into the draft. But you know what? Maybe we're going to see that move now. Athena Leclerc there on the inside has a lot on the side, and George Griffiths, not quite as lucky this time, gets turned around. A little bit of a poke there. Not what he was looking for, but in all honesty, you know what? He dodged a bullet the first time. Asking for a second was maybe a little bit optimistic, as Diego Zuccarelli now has slotted himself in between that gap with Richard Swindell's right behind.
Well, Athena Leclerc's definitely going to keep 7th place now, as the final lap has begun for the drivers up the front of the field, and now Griffiths is going to have to try and fight his way back through into potentially 8th place. Meanwhile, fight going on further back. Michael Broomhead got Arnaud Genest on his back and Cedric O'Hayan on his nose. Nicholas Colander has been able to jet away from all of them there in the battle for 13th place. Is there anything Broomhead can do to try and keep these drivers behind him? No, he's actually going to let Arnaud Genest go on the way into turn 1. Well, let's see if there's anything to be done on the way into the bus stop. The battles in the top 7 have fizzled out completely. Still got Christian Gritsko and Diego Zuccarelli fighting over 8th and 9th place. And then George Griffiths trying his best to find his way past the number 11 car. The number 16 car of Richard Swindell's to get back into the top 10. It looks like he's lost a further position there.
Well, Swindell, despite being one of the more older seasoned, actually he's one of the good guys. Well, let's say there's a lot of good guys here on the grid, but maybe a little bit biased, I admit, certainly cheering on Swindell. He does actually join us in the Pit Road Productions commentary booth every now and again, and you know, he's been developing there as a commentator, but certainly we're not going to get him in the booth for this one because he's there driving as the agricultural committee there of George Griffiths does a little bit of mowing, and he's certainly trying everything he can to get past number 16 car of Richard Swindell's.
Well, here we go then. The race is officially over. Racine Fazui has already crossed the line up ahead of everyone else, and, oh, what a surprise, sets the fastest lap again on the final lap. I mean, that's just Racine Fazui's season in a nutshell, isn't it? But we'll see if Diego Zuccarelli can find his way past Gritsko here in the final corner. No, he runs wide, and that could potentially put him under pressure from Richard Swindell's coming across the line. It will not. Arnaud Genest, meanwhile, has found his way back past Nicholas Colander. Seems like there was some change of position there that we unfortunately missed, and Colander might still be in trouble there on the run up to the line. No, he won't. He will hold on to 14th place, exactly where he started the race, but plenty of adventures on the way.
We have another battle going on here, ladies and gentlemen. This is for 25th place. It's between Ivan Langeveld and Matthew Crimmy. And you can see here the privateer car, the 113 machine, is doing everything he can to try and get the better of Ivan Langeveld, who did indeed moonlight yesterday, but certainly he's in the right session tonight. You can't blame him for being eager to get in more track time. And it looks like Crimmy looking to have a little bit of a dive on the inside, not quite getting it done. Runs wide, definitely a little bit wide there. I mean, it is all fair tarmac at that point, but maybe not the quickest line through there, as they do indeed backed off right off the back of there, as we see a couple of cars coming to a stop. But again, another win there for Racine Fazui. Absolutely fantastic job there. And what a race as well. Certainly some very, very interesting results here at Watkins Glen.
Oh yeah, very interesting indeed. Well, Racine Fazui will extend his championship lead again, winning both races tonight and setting the fastest lap in both. I mean, you know, what more can you say about Racine that we haven't already said? A fantastic result for him, with Buchanan and LeVay getting fantastic podiums in the second race here tonight. Dudgeon, has to be pointed out, was able to hold on to 4th place, and I think that might be her best result of the season. And that's a fantastic drive from our Top Radical Academy driver. Crocker Jr., meanwhile, finishing in 5th place. Fantastic result for him too. And so the results will fall in the favour of Dudgeon there for the AM class winner. With Joey Haynes finishing in sixth, Athena Leclerc, a really awesome run for her. She was held up in the battle quite a bit with Gritsko, Zuccarelli, Swindells, and the like. It was a very interesting battle in the top 10. George Griffiths will finish in 11th place, with John Benvalid finishing just behind him in 12th. Arnaud Genest battling with Colander, Ohian, and Broomhead. The battle for 13th falling in his favour, with Ozzy Milwain and Harland Goulbourne finishing in 17th and 18th, with Jean-Francois Larocque and Andrew Hardman rounding out our top 20. Brady Clapham, unfortunately, had to take 2 trips to the pit lane, got a black flag on his way through, with Nick Polliard, Chad Payton, and Doug Meadows rounding out our top 24. 11 positions gained for Doug Meadows, but that's still nothing compared to the 21 positions that Diego Zuccarelli gained, finishing up in 9th. Van Langeveld, first driver, Langeveld and Crimmy, last drivers on the lead lap, with Mileman, Blades, Nellers, and Scarali finishing down the order, 1 lap down. Nelson Mason, unfortunately, retiring from the race, and it was a long list of retirements that we saw. Ella Martin was able to get to the end of the race, but Mark Boyd, Clay Morris, Robert Covey, and Richard Hibbs, unfortunately, did not make it to the end of the race. Man, what an incredible round once again. Watkins Glen always turning it up, Zippy, but I believe you have someone to talk to.
Well, Reese, I am never without somebody to talk to. There is many voices in my head. On this occasion, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to steal the absolute man, the machine. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to get a catchphrase for this guy. Razim Fazui absolutely dominating yet again today. We did miss you for the last round. Certainly, I'm sure your competition maybe not quite as affectionate there at that point. But you can see there. Oh, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I just appeared on screen. I you had a bucket ready, but Razim Fazui, welcome back into the booth. It's great to see you back here with BIS. Tell us a little bit about how you prepared for this race.
Yeah, hello everyone. Feels good. I needed a perfect weekend to get it all. Well, a perfect Wednesday to win it all, and I ended up getting a perfect Wednesday. I After VIR, I was mad at myself. So then I put in twice the effort for Watkins Glen, and I made sure that I was on pace to win it all.
Well, certainly, these races and these wins don't come without a lot of effort in between. But, in race 1, you had the blistering qualifying pace, just setting the fastest laps, actually the weekend that you could have dreamed of, and certainly that you delivered on. But in race 2, certainly a lot more work there to be done. Tell us a little bit about your strategy in terms of, making your way through the field.
Yeah, well, prior to coming to this event, I knew that all I needed was to finish ahead of Jamie in points overall in this event. Whatever points he gets, if I get it +1, I win it all today. So after the qualifying and the sprint, I actually thought that I should lay back and not do anything crazy. Like I almost went 3 wide outside T1, and I had the run to get it, but I lifted and I thought better. However, I started to see that people were getting feisty around me, so I needed to overtake in order to not have somebody bump me if I check up in the corner, or even at some point somebody cut me off twice, um, especially once in the S's, as if like I wasn't even there with no mirrors. Like I almost saw the whole championship go away in that moment. So I was like, nope. Like I lifted a lot, but I made sure I was smart with my overtakes. And then yeah, and in the pit window, when the pit window opened, I miscalculated how much fuel I needed. I did not expect the change in weather to have that much of an impact in how much fuel is being consumed from the sprint to the future. But a fuel saved a lot, and then I thought I need a perfect weekend, so I got to drop a flyer, and I give it my all, and I think I had a little bit of draft up the S's, and I was able to, I believe, get the fastest lap of the feature as well. So claimed it, job done. I can relax now, and yeah, looking forward to race a Radical in real life. I'm a little bit scared, but I'm pretty sure I'll get around that car if I can get around the sim one.
Well, I've got to say, unofficially speaking, my sources are telling me that you have indeed got this in the bag. Don't get me wrong, that is pending official review and pending any incident review. And I've got to be honest, I certainly didn't see anything in the booth. And even if that does happen to occur, do I think you could do it in the final round? Oh yeah, it'd be a foolish man to bet against you, but I've got to say a huge congratulations to Racine Fazui, and certainly I'm going to do my very best to try and head out and be there on that day. Can't make any promises yet, and by all means, at least I know you're going to show up. You've got more motivation even if I'm there, but an absolutely fantastic season so far, and it's great to have you here at BIS. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for what I do believe is the pro winner, Racine Fazui.
Thank you very much, everyone. I want to thank my family, my brother, my girlfriend, my dog. Um, I want to thank the sponsors. I want to thank Advanced Sim Racing, which is the sponsor of the series, Pitbull Production, Radical, BIS. I want to thank everybody that participated in it. It was fun to race this season. I want to thank Michael for organizing it and setting it up. And I want to give a special shout out to VPX Motorsports, just because. And am I forgetting anybody? And shout out to anybody I'm forgetting. It was fun.
Well, I've got to say, absolutely fantastic job, ladies and gentlemen. That was Racine Fazui, certainly taking it with a lot of appreciation there. And I'm hoping we're going to see you back for the final round. I do believe it's mandatory, despite the fact you've got the season in the bag. So it seems I do expect you to be there, sir. So check in on that one. Just off the top of your head, are you going to make it out for the final round?
So that's funny because I'll be flying out the very day to coach and engineer in Radical in real life with Lima Racing and Cedric and John.
That's fair. I could
So
make allowances for that myself.
so
Legit excuse.
yeah, we're gonna. I believe we have a sim booth with 3 rigs down there in Florida. It's gonna be a fun one.
Oh, make
That's
it
what I
happen.
wanted. Yeah, I
Yeah,
wanted to get
make
the
it
pressure
happen.
off my chest. Yeah, and just have fun on the last one and not worry about anything.
Well, I think that's going to be absolutely fantastic. By all means, if you do run on that rig, I want to see some pictures. Ideally, set up a video feed for us. We will guide you through how to do that. That would be absolutely fantastic. But we're going to leave you to it for now. Good luck there, coaching and engineering for Lima Racing. Certainly, I know I've seen a picture of Cedric's new race car, and I absolutely love it. I need it on my wall, guys. I need a picture. Not a body part, keep it intact, but I need a poster of that on my wall, ladies and gentlemen. But we're going to leave you to it for now. We've got other interviews to get to. Ladies and gentlemen, for the final time this evening, let's put your hands together for Racine Fazui, your pro winner.
Thank you, everyone.
Well, I understand, Reese, you've been able to catch up with another driver, and I do believe it was Marshall Crocker Jr.
Yes, indeed. And according to our league admin, it seems, Marshall, you have enough points in hand to have taken the AM Championship for the season. So another fantastic round for you. You were up the front all night long. Just standard stuff for your season, really.
I like to think so. I certainly like to think getting up here, at a certain point gets, to become the norm and never boring, but just, sitting there in second, feeling, that sense of only wanting to push Kara for first. To think that, being in second, I would still want that little bit more at the beginning of the season. I never would have imagined it. And no, complete congratulations to her. I would have loved to end the season on to wrap the championship up on a win. But when the person in front of you is riding a hot hand, when they're that quick, I can't help but feel happy the way this turned out, and it is an honor to be the man bringing it home for the title.
Absolutely. It's been a fantastic season for you. We still have one more round to go at Motorsport, and it's a track that I think is very similar to Watkins Glen. High speed, and you need to make sure that you have precision and bravery in equal amounts there. So, are you going to be taking anything from this round and applying it to the next?
I'll do my best. I think something definitely kind of clicked here this week, making little changes to my brake bias, almost trying to approach the races a little bit more like the pro guys do, kind of learning how they approach each race and how they set up the car, and then trying to learn to change my driving to meet it. I think that's how I'm finding a little bit more pace and moving up in the overall finishes. So I'm going to try to carry that to Motorsport, although this race, you're racing at Motorsport, especially with a lot of guys that have run here in real life. Everybody in Canada, the BIS Canada Series, everybody loves Motorsport. So next 2 weeks from now is going to be like trying to beat a giraffe in a leaf eating contest. It is just going to be going in. Everybody is at their A game, and I can't wait for it. I hope I can carry something from today, but again, there's a couple people in front of me. I got to find even more to catch. So gonna be putting in the work till then, but can't wait to wrap the season up.
Yeah, of course, Marshall. And can I just say, if everyone else is bringing their A game, I think you're going to be right up there as well, because this season has been consistently great from you from the very start. So big congratulations to you on the provisional AM Class Championship, and hopefully we get a chance to chat to you again next week. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, I really appreciate that. I would first of all just like to thank the man who was just doing math a moment ago. Thank you to Mike Broomhead for putting this series on, everything he does to put it together. I know we had, every once in a while there was a couple races early on, a little bit of issue with certain administrative stuff as far as the drivers and starts and stuff like that. We got this wrapped up. The racing tonight was the best I've had in literal years. So Mike has put together something special, and same to you guys up here in the broadcast booth. Just the overall product, to be a part of it, it is an honor, even more so as champion. And then personally, just my dad, Marshall Crocker Sr., thank you as always for spotting me, and in this case, spotting me on the way to the title, and everybody who's been there supporting me on the YouTube, Nick, Alyssa, Michael, everybody out there. So thanks to everybody. Thanks for being part of the journey, and same to you. I hope to be back up here in 2 weeks, Reese, and I'll do my final thanks to you guys then.
All right, thanks for joining us, Marshall. And everybody put your hands together for Marshall Crocker Jr., AM Class Provisional Champion for this season. And Zippy, I believe we're going to throw it back to you. You've got another driver to speak to.
Well, I do indeed. This is somebody I've been very keen to talk to. We saw her absolutely dominate last night from doing, didn't matter if she started in first, started in last. She absolutely made sure that top step was hers. And Cara Dudgeon, ladies and gentlemen, one of the younger drivers on the grid, part of the Radical Academy as well. Incredible pace this evening. Absolutely blown away. I mean, we knew coming in you'd be someone to watch, but when we first saw your qualifying time, we're just absolutely socks blown off, showing us how it's done. And not only that, able to get the amateur win for the race this evening, the final race. Tell us a little bit about the preparation that went into enabling you to do that.
Well, I've driven lots of Watkins Glen before. As I said in my previous interview, this is one of my favorite tracks. But I did a lot of practice. I was practicing about every day for an hour.
It's okay. We don't have a clock on your car. You're all right. We're not going to check that one.
All right.
You're okay. We don't bite. Just be you. It's okay.
But yeah, and then I also did the amateur races. Yesterday, there was an hour practice and 3 races. So I think that really prepared me for today, just getting in the right mindset. For today, I struggled a little at pace on first, qualifying wasn't my best. I wasn't fully happy with that. And then in the heat, I just wasn't fully on my game there, but in the final it just all pieced together and I just did my best.
Well, certainly you were under a lot of heavy attack for a while, and certainly at BiS Radical Canada Cup, there is a lot of very potent drivers on the grid. They are certainly, if you make a little bit of a slip up or hold back, they will be very keen to capitalize on that opportunity. But Cara, 4th place overall in the final race this evening, taking the lead for the amateur, albeit not the championship, don't get me wrong. I mean, you've got your own championship to fight for in the Radical Academy that's on Tuesday nights. But certainly, you managed to beat the actual championship for the championship winner for the season, albeit on one race occasion. So I've got to say congratulations to that. You have a lot to be proud of today. And certainly, I'm looking forward to seeing you in about 2 weeks' time at Motorsport. Are you going to be having the same kind of training regime? Tell us a little bit about how you'll prepare for that.
Well, Motorsport is actually my home track. I race there in real life for karting, and I've been in a race car, not driving it, on the real track. And I've done lots of sim racing before on Motorsport. It is absolute blast.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're definitely going to have to keep an eye on the 305 car of Cara Dudgeon, certainly in that final round in 2 weeks' time. But Cara, before we let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yes, I'd like to thank my dad. He's just always with me, mechanicking in real life, coaching me on the sim. He may not be able to do the same things I do on the sim, but
Fair. I hear you. I hear you. I can hear him laughing as well. It's okay. Keep going.
but yeah, he definitely helps me a lot. Like there will be things on the track that I don't see that he sees. I sometimes give him a bit of a hard time, but we always come through. And like this race too, I was trying not to fight too hard with the pros because I didn't really want to take anyone out, because they have another championship and I'm not part of that, so I don't want to ruin anyone's race.
Oh, that's definitely a very mature outlook. And as well, it's great to see your dad involved with you and sharing the journey with you. Certainly on the mechanical side as well, you have my sympathies there, Mr. Dudgeon Sr. You very much have my sympathies there. It can be stressful, getting into that level. But then certainly when it's all about not just fixing it, but getting the most pace and getting the car set up to where you want it, I mean, that definitely adds a bit of pressure. And with the talents that Kara's got, she is 100% going to tell you, Dad, I need more. Get this car tuned a little bit better. But certainly an incredible father-daughter team there today. You have a lot to be proud of, and I'm looking forward to seeing your name out there on the real world stage on a bigger level. I can certainly believe it's coming, and certainly you've definitely made an entrance here at BIS and on Pit Road Productions. So congratulations, and we're going to catch up with you in 2 weeks' time at Motorsport.
Yeah, thank you. And I'd also like to thank Radical Racing for allowing me to join their team for this. And I'd also like to thank Phil for also organizing this for everyone, and Mike doing an amazing job, and everyone racing. It has been such an amazing experience, and I'm very happy to be here.
Absolutely. Certainly. This one here, the BiS Radical Canada Cup, that one's all Mike Broomhead on that one. But certainly the Radical Academy you in yesterday, that one is indeed Phil. And actually, Kara, if you've got any friends there who would be interested in sharing that journey with you, please have them contact Phil. Let's get you a little bit more competition on that. But we're going to let you go for now. We've got a few more people we want to speak to. But again, congratulations on the absolutely fantastic drive this evening.
Thank you. Have a great night.
You too. You too. Well, Reese, definitely one of the younger drivers we've had in the booth with such incredible potential. But I understand you've been able to catch up with Jamie LeVay.
I have indeed. Well, Jamie on the podium again here in race 2 at Watkins Glen, and battling up from 9th to 5th in race 1. It was certainly a difficult one for you in race 1 with all of the battling that you had to do, but that's just Watkins Glen with how strong the slipstream is in these cars.
Yeah, it definitely was. Definitely didn't do myself any favors in qualifying. Had a bit of a deficit to work back from. Just didn't get a clean lap in. But yeah, as you say, it was super tight battles and lots of fast people in the field. So it was a challenge. Ultimately, I was pretty happy with getting back to P5 in there and setting up for a decent starting position for the feature race. And I mean, I got to say, towards the end, just after the pit stop cycle there in the feature race, I feel terrible for Arnaud and Ozzy there with what happened with coming up on a lap car. They got kind of taken out behind me, and we were shaping up for a great battle for third right at the end, but unfortunate. Nevertheless, they were super quick too, so definitely shout out to them.
Yeah, definitely. Well, regardless, the results did come to you, and coming into the final round, it is a solid amount of points that you've gained here. So with the final round not allowed to be dropped for the championship drop, very important to get a good result at the series home track.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a challenging track too. Really, lots of fast flowing corners, and it's going to be really tight. There's a bit of a slipstream opportunity up the back straight, but still all the draft behind the cars and the aero wash is going to make it challenging to be close and to fight for position. So I think it'll be an interesting one for sure. And without a drop, everyone's going to be obviously pretty hungry for maximizing their points there.
Yeah, indeed. Well, wishing you the best of luck for Motorsport, Jamie, and congratulations once again on your results tonight. Very consistent penultimate round of the season, and you have a lot to be proud of tonight.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Jamie LeVay there. And finally, it looks like, Zippy, we're going to have Zach Buchanan joining us here. Second place in race 2. Great result for him.
Well, Zach, absolutely fantastic drive yet again. Certainly on the restart, you capitalized from that starting grid position and did everything that you can. And certainly, it was very refreshing as well to see somebody kind of take the torch to Faziri, despite the fact he has won the championship for the pro class. You didn't let him have it without putting up a good fight. So, Zach, tell us a little bit. Certainly, you've actually had some real life experience getting the drive of one of these SR3 race cars. I actually want to hear a little bit about that today with the championship points having been decided.
Today was a pretty good race for me. like Racine was on another level with his pace, so I was really just trying my best to stay ahead of him and then keep up once he got past me. But yeah, it was probably my best race of the season. I've had a couple good close calls this season, but that was probably the best so far. And yeah, it was a good one today. It felt good. Lots of good racing today. What do you want to know about the Radical?
Well, honestly, you've been driving it here in BiS Radical Canada Cup for a good couple of seasons now. I'm not quite sure of your original equipment, but certainly you've been there for quite a while. Forgive me on that aspect, but certainly you've driven it a lot in the sim. You've driven it in real life. I would like to know really your first-hand experience, like the biggest differences you felt. Don't get me wrong, this is the SR10, but certainly, in the sim, despite the incredible technology we have and the software, there is obviously still details that you can't feel, like G-forces and stuff like that. I wanted your first-hand experience, a little bit of a driver's point of view there from your experience there, getting to drive a real one of these cars.
So yeah, there's only so much that transfers through, especially because I was unlucky enough to do my driving in real life in torrential downpour. But I think the most surprising thing is how quickly I felt comfortable in a car like that, something with so much power and that's so quick, something I've never really driven before. How quickly I felt comfortable, at least pushing within the confines of me borrowing a race car and doing some laps for fun. Like it was actually really fun seeing how quickly I became comfortable driving the car, how quickly I felt like I could push. I even had a little spin when I did it last year in the rain. That was pretty exciting. But yeah, that's the most surprising thing. Even without the G-forces in the sim, you at least know what to expect out of it. And it's really surprising how quickly you transfer over and how quickly you pick up speed.
Well, I will say, in your defense, Zach, you are definitely one of the talented drivers here at BiS, and it's been an absolute pleasure having you. Don't get me wrong, Racine may have, well, not say cheated you out of another chance of driving that, but he gave you some very, very fair competition. And I got to say, Zach, you had a very up and down season, but certainly one of the more skilled drivers in the grid for sure. And certainly, it's been great watching you here. And Zach, before we let you go, I do remember actually that you tend to work nights, if I remember rightly, down at the airport. But just while we got you in here, is there anybody you'd like to thank for your race this evening, or indeed the whole season?
Yeah, so Racine, of course, congrats on the championship, as well as Marshall in the AM championship. It was super hard fought for both of them. But especially tonight, shout out to Jamie for the close racing in both races, as well as was it Marshall? I got another name here. I wanted to shout out, and Arno and Ozzy. They were all, and Andrew. They were all great in the first race, especially, and then the second race. Shout out to Kara, Jamie, and Racine for making a good show out front. It was a lot of fun tonight, and thanks to you guys, of course, and Mike for hosting the league.
Well, I got to say, it's great to see another happy driver here. Certainly, you know what, for me, as much as I'd love to, win an experience and get to do that, Zach's already done that, ladies and gentlemen. He is tried and tested, actually one of the very first people to get to enjoy that experience. And I got to say, definitely a little bit jealous, albeit it was a little soggy for you. Still very jealous, an opportunity that many crave, but few have actually managed to fulfill. But Zach, we're going to let you go for now. Thank you very much. Are we going to see you there in 2 weeks' time at Motorsport?
You bet. Unless something comes up, I wouldn't miss it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm certainly going to be keeping an eye out for him here in the production booth. And if he does have plans, I'm going to make sure they are personally cancelled for him. I've now been appointed as his personal secretary. But ladies and gentlemen, Zachary Buchanan getting the P2 finish in the main race for this evening.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is just about going to bring us to an end. What a absolutely fantastic evening of racing. Certainly, it's got to be my favorite round here from the BiS Radical Canada Cup for this season. Certainly, we've had some good racing, but this was on a absolutely other level. Certainly, some drivers, some new, some old, some physically very old. I mean, we know which two we're thinking of there. Richard? Robert. Got to shout out the old fellas in the most affectionate way, ladies and gentlemen. But certainly, and then on the opposite end of the scale, you got like the likes of like Kara, and we didn't see him here tonight. Assad Nakarnambev as well. I was actually kind of disappointed that I didn't see him here tonight. You know, we got the chat saying, we got Dave in the chat saying, like, you know, incredible driving there and very impressive young lady. And I'm inclined to agree with him. Absolutely, some of the young talent we've got coming through these leagues is, I mean, I can't even hold a candle to them. Like, absolutely incredible. And then I gotta say, as a whole community, as BIS as a group, is phenomenal. Like, I've been here since the start, and the racing just keeps getting better and better. The camaraderie is getting good. You know, it's beautiful that, you know, people will have a race, they'll have a battle on the track, but then when it all is said and done, don't get me wrong, there's a little bit of a red mist for a while, but then when all said and done, generally these guys manage to sort it out independently, these guys, these girls, and it's fantastic to see. It's growing as well. We've got another couple of drivers new here today. Athena Leclerc makes a debut round, comes in 7th place in the main race. That's absolutely incredible. So we're going to have to keep an eye on her. But Reese, any other thoughts you'd like to add to that?
Bring on Motorsport. I'm really looking forward to this championship coming to a close at a very exciting track. The series home circuit. It's going to be high-speed action, much like what you've seen here at Watkins Glen tonight. Bring it on.
Well, Reese, I'm 100% in agreement with you. But ladies and gentlemen, that just about wraps it up for us this evening here on Pit Road Productions. It's been, for lack of better words, an absolute belter of an evening. I've had a lot of fun. I'm probably not going to be able to sleep for at least a couple of hours, so that's me written off. And I blame you guys for that. You know, the buzz of the booth, the buzz of the racing, and absolutely the sheer pride in what we've built here, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just the guys in the booth. It's not just Mike doing the admin. It's not just the guys on the track. It is a group effort. And also as well, the sponsors as well that help us be able to do this. Thank you very much as well. But we're going to have to wrap it up for this evening. We're going to see you for BIS. We'll see you in a week's time. We're going to have the F1600s is going to be back. And Reese, I know you're going to know the track because I'm pretty sure it's Australian.
Atlanta, Georgia, Australia, of course.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am hitting the geography. Can you tell I failed geography? Is there a little clue maybe? Or maybe the memory isn't the best? We had 2 Australian tracks in a row. I guess we didn't get a third because maybe there isn't a third Australian track. But we've got another BIS series here in a week time. Actually, speaking of what we've got coming up on Saturday, we have the Almeida Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen Strollio Almeida race in this series before. We're going to be back. Actually, myself and Reese are going to be back on Saturday doing the Almeida Academy. That's going to be fun. BMW M2. Monday nights takes us to the WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League for the M2 yet again. And then on Tuesday night, we're going to have the... Nope, not this week. Next week, we'll have the Radical Esports Academy as well. That is the where we're going to see some of these fine ladies race wheel to wheel for some action there. But we do have to wrap this up. I may be rambling a little bit, but certainly it is all from a place of passion and pride. But thank you very much for watching. My name has, and I guess always will be, Daniel Zippy Salmon. My colleague there, Reese Southpaw Racer Gardner, joining me in the commentary booth today. Despite the cold, he sounded fantastic, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a round of applause. It can be like a very weak round of applause. It's okay. We'll laugh with him at that. But and also our producer as well, Mr. Christian Hill, in the commentary booth. But thank you very much for joining. We're going to see you very shortly on Pit Road Production.